Hey, Classy, thank you very much once again. We are meeting on Metric Hub. Uh, Today we are just continuing on our paper. I'm sorry, like you can see, our paper two that we've been working on was just disrupted by the network and then it cut before it was done. So this is a continuation of our paper two that we've been doing, which is ending on question two. So I'm just showing you that we are going to continue and finish this paper as we continue today. Please note that the paper, like I said, that it is long, but in any case, just be comfortable to keep following and just be patient anyway, that we can work together this paper to the end. You shall find out that it's going to help you quite a lot in your revision, in preparation of final exams that we are writing anytime soon. So please just keep connected and keep following. We are going to actually explore all these questions that we are seeing here and also comprehensively relate to any other areas of interest that we see that they should be analyzed and discussed in the presentation. So please just note that this is what we're going to work on, and I'm sure that your time won't be wasted. You are going to enjoy this. You are going to really have the benefit of your time and your data. So without wasting any time, know that Metric Help is there for you. We are just going to ensure that we are going to do this together to the end. Come grade 12, don't forget that it is there. It's so interesting that we are going to have our own family, like that we can really understand and believe that something has been done. So without wasting any time, we have got these questions here, which are based on the diagram below. It's number of mice that is given on the vertical axis here. And then obviously on the horizontal axis, we have got time, which we can say either it is in months, it can be in months, or it can be in years. But as we can see, mice, they live short, so sometimes we can just allocate and analyze it over a short period of time. So now, there are questions which are here. There are questions which are there, uh, which we just need to answer now, uh, saying that which graph represents the population of mice, which graph represent the population of mice. So now we are based, or we are discussing this based on these three graphs or four graphs, A, B, C, D. So which graph represent the population of mice? So in this case, we are just talking about a habitat, or we are talking about a particular species of organisms that are within a specific habitat. So the organisms, they are entering into a certain habitat, and then they acclimatize, the population grows. It must grow to an optimum level which the carrying capacity of that habitat can sustain. And then in a natural or in a normal ecosystem population, it will start small, and then otherwise it can actually grow to a certain optimum level. And then after it reaches that optimum level, the population of the mice must go down in order to balance the density factors, in order to allow the supporting factors to rejuvenate. So now what is happening here is that we are saying the specific graph that should, a graph that must indicate the population of mice, which graph represent the population of mice in this case. So we are saying that this graph can possibly be graph C, which is according to the illustration that we are explaining now, that the population, it is started small, and then there was a rapid growth. The growth is because they are every supporting factors that are needed by the mice to survive. But now, as the population keep growing rapidly, those are supporting resources, they get diminished, or they get finished. So the population will reach its what, its maximum. It will reach at its maximum level. This maximum level is the level at which the resources are are able to effectively support the population of the mice. So therefore, we are saying graph C can indicate uh, what? Graph C can indicate the population of the mice that we are talking about. If you look on every other graph C, we are saying that we cannot have a direct constant growth like that forever because there are many other factors that affect the population of organisms in an ecosystem. And again, if you look at on graph B, it also identifies that this population or this group of this mice population, it is gradually increasing and then it keeps on increasing forever. But which we also say that there is no such a type of population establishment in an ecosystem which is normal and straight. So we are saying the right answer is what is C. And then what is the carrying capacity of the field of the maize field? The carrying capacity is we are talking about the maximum population, the maximum population the field can sustain. The field can sustain or can support is what you mean by what? By the carrying capacity, the maximum population of the mice that the maize field can support. So we are saying that population is indicated by the growth of the mice that we are looking at. So when we look at this, we are given the key here that this here we have got 50, we have got 100, and then we have got 150 on at the top there. So our population is somewhere here, which we are saying at this point, what is the population reading at this point? So I can basically agree and want to say that if we have got 100 here, I can say 120. 120 can be this population which is marked by the turning curve of the what? Of the graph. So the turning curve of the graph is showing us the maximum population that maize field can sustain, which we are saying that that can be we can say that 120 uh, that is 120 according to how I can actually relate to it here. It can say 120 mice can be the population that we can find on as the maximum or as the carrying capacity that we are looking at there. And then so the answer is 120 class. 120. I'm saying you find it by looking at the turning curve of the graph and then give a reason for your answer. The reason why we say 120, why should we say that there is the maximum or the carrying capacity is 120? We are looking at this as to say it is showing the maximum number which is given or which the field can sustain. So it's the carrying capacity. It actually enables or it can indicate the number of mice that must actually be able to be going up and down around that number, around that population size. It can go up and down and actually within the range of the population. As you can see, it is going up and down, going towards that number again and going down. But in any case, there are other factors that might cause the carrying capacity not to be reached, which are nothing to do with the environmental factors, which we can say that the maize field does not sustain, but it can be because of predation that is also avoiding or disturbing the population to reach its maximum. So what we are saying is that the reason why we say that it's 120 is because the population of the mice is moving and fluctuating around that number because the population of the mice is moving up and down around that population number, is moving up and down around that around that number. Which number are we referring to? We are saying around the 120 that we are talking about. Around 120, which we are saying that is the population's maximum, that is the maize field's maximum number. So the population is actually fluctuating and rotating around that number that we have seen there. And then we have got the illustration shows interaction between two animals. The illustration below shows interaction between two animals that we are given here. So we have got the antelope, and then we have got this the leopard. We have got graph A. Graph A is given. We have got graph B, and then we also have graph C that is also shown here. And then we have got the line graphs that are also illustrating the interaction between the population of the antelope and the what and the leopard. So one thing that I want you also to understand with regard to this graph before we answer it, this is showing that the leopard is hunting the antelope. The leopard is predating. It's actually preying on the what? The leopard is preying. This is actually a predator. This one is actually predating. It's a predator to the antelope. So what we are saying is that before we go anywhere, we must be able to establish the relationship in a population or in a graph that is given. And then if we look in this graph again, I once said it last year that when we look in this graph here, the line graphs X and Y, before we go to the question that I asked, we must be able to understand uh, each of the line graph represents the predator-prey relationship. So now, what is happening here is that in this graph, you should be able to see which one represents the predator, which one represents the antelope. So now, the population of the antelope, it must begin being the highest population, and then it can otherwise go down because of predation, and then it goes up again. So then population of the predator cannot be more than the ones of the what of the prey, because now when the predator population is too high, we would have a situation or we have a problem. The predator will obviously die out because it won't be having enough food for itself. So now what we need to understand is that when we look at this graph, before I go to any questions, we are saying graph X, it must represent the antelope. It must represent the antelope to show or to illustrate a healthy population, and then Y, it must represent the what? The leopard. That can be a normal interaction that we can give. That can be a possible interaction that we can give, because the antelope population must be more than the leopard, so that the leopard can be able to survive. If there is not enough food for it to survive, we won't have the population surviving in there. So what type of interaction is indicated by the illustration? So I have said that this illustration that we are looking at, I said that this is a predator-prey relationship. So what type of interaction is indicated? This is predation. Let's agree that this is what is called predation. Like we said that the leopard is hunting the leopard is hunting the antelope for food. And then explain the reason that is there. Explain the reason, because we are seeing the reason is that the leopard is hunting or killing the antelope. It is actually killing the antelope, which actually it is, which is we are saying the antelope for survival, which we are saying for food. So don't forget that the elephant, I mean the leopard, we said that the leopard, this we said that is the predator, and then the leopard, the antelope, we said that is the what? Is the prey. This also must be taken note of. To say identify the predator, identify the prey. The predator is the one that hunts. The predator is that organism or that animal that is intending to kill to eat. We call that the predator. The one which is being killed is the prey. So the leopard is predating over the antelope for its survival. That is one thing that we need to take note of. And then what effect will this interaction have on the size of the size of the antelope population? The antelope population will actually it will cause uh it will cause a decrease in antelope population. Antelope it will cause a decrease in antelope population. That is one thing that we can I want you to understand that because the leopard is hunting the antelope, therefore it is killing them. The population of the antelope will decrease. It will cause a decrease in the number of it will cause a decrease in antelope population. It will cause a decrease in antelope population. That is one thing that I want you to take note of. It will cause a decrease in the population of the antelope because it is being killed. It is being hunted. And then with reference to illustration B, which graph represents the antelope population and the one that represents the what? You see, that was what I was just basically saying. Which graph represents the antelope population? We said that in these graphs, the antelope population, we said that this X, we said is the antelope, which I already mentioned and labeled there, and then Y is the leopard. So that is the reason which I already explained that the antelope population is X, and then the leopard population is what? Is Y, according to the graph that we have already indicated. I'm sure that we have seen that. uh, Name and explain the interaction which will emerge at C. The interaction that would emerge at C. At C, we are seeing that is the this is one population species which can compete on its own. So what happens is that we are looking at within species. It is within species competition. So we say that if it is within, we say that it is called intra, it means within one species. Intra-species competition, it is within one species. So it is intra-species competition, and then inter, it will be between two species. Take note of that. We are saying that intra is within one population species, that is intra, and then inter, it means between two organisms of different species. That is between two organisms. We can say the antelope and also the springbok. That can be an inter-competition, but if it is the antelope on their own, that is known as what? As intra-species competition. Is intra-species is called intra-species competition. And then what effect will a density independent factor have on the size of the antelope population? What will happen on the size of the antelope population? So in this case, what we need to understand is that when we look at effect of effect will a density independent factor have on the antelope population. So now, in terms of that, we are saying density independent. We are talking about irrespective. We are saying that factor is not it's not dependent on the population of what of the antelope. So what effect will a density independent factor have on the size of the population? So that effect, it actually, we are saying that this would also cause uh a decrease. We are giving, for example, factors such as, to say, predation. It's a density independent factor, so we can say it can also cause decrease in population. It can cause a decrease in population of antelope. The population will decrease. It will cause a decrease in population of the antelope. So we are saying the population size will actually decrease. The population size. You understand? So give one example of such factor which were mentioned in this. So factors that are density independent, we are saying factors that can actually affect the population of this one, which is density independent. We can talk about any other factors that is not uh, uh, interrelated to the effect of what of habitat population. This can be, we can talk about natural disasters that can be, we can give examples of earthquake. Earthquake can cause the population to decrease. We can talk about wildfires. You know, Musa, that sometimes forests have got runoff fires that can just happen on their own. We can also maybe talk about drought. Drought is a natural phenomenon that is caused or whereby we have got low rainfall totals or absence of rainfall, which can cause problems to do with the survival or living of these organisms in their forests there. It can also be floods. Floods can also happen. Floods can also happen, which can also kill or which can also cause a decrease in the population size of the antelope there. The diagram below, it's given here, and then we are supposed to actually look at, and actually we are supposed to answer questions which relates to the illustration as I've shown here. Last time I did also show you that we need to look at I mean in the on channel, refer to the channel for also detailed explanation with regard to this. For the interest of time, name the parts labeled 3, 4, and 6. 3, 4, and 6. Name the parts labeled 3, 4, and 6. We can say, we can see 3 is the sternum, and then 4, which is actually showing the, it actually shows the rhizode. And then we have got 3, 4, and 6. 6, it represents the columella, the columella. And then state one function of part 1, part 4, and 7. Give the function of 1, 4, and 7. If you look at functions of 1, 4, and 7, 1, it actually identifies that it produces, it's where the spore is produced. We are looking at where the spore is produced. 1 produces the spore, and then 4, it actually shows, it is responsible for the absorption of nutrients. And remember that it's absorption of nutrients. This is we are talking about modes here. Absorption of nutrients from from bread. And then 7 actually you can see that it's there to what it actually supports. It supports or we can say that it is responsible for supporting and carry the what the sparrow gear high. It supports 7. It supports or carry. It supports or carry. As you can see, number 7, we are saying it supports or it carry the sparrow gear high. Or else we can also maybe say that it is for the dispersal of what? It is also responsible for dispersal of the spore. It is actually also promoted by what? By 7. It allows disposal spreading. The dispersal of the spore is also allowed by 7 there. Is 4. We said absorption of nutrients from the bread there. It allows the absorption of nutrients. It can also be, we can give it as to say the anchor of the mold. It can also anchor or support. Anchor, it actually anchor the mold. Anchor or support. It anchor or support the mold. That is the function of what? Of 4. So please, let's understand and be able to actually look at this. And sometimes you might find out that these questions will come in various formats. But in any case, be aware that functions and labels are always given when we look at modes. When we look at modes, we need to be able to label the parts and also be able to give the functions. Name and describe the type of nutrition in this plant. Name and describe the type of nutrition that is in this plant. So when you can look at this, you need to understand that this is a spirophytic plant. So we can say that the type of nutrition is that it derives nutrients from what? From dead organic matter. Name and describe. So the name first is the spirophyte, which we are saying is the what? The saprophytic plant. What does it do? It actually gets nutrients from what? From dead organic matter. Gets nutrition from decomposing organic matter. It actually gets the nutrients from decomposing organic matter. That's one thing that we need to understand there. And then tabulate differences between this number 2.34. It's a question that is keeping on coming repeatedly. We once answered it there, which we said when they say tabulate, you are just supposed to draw a table, which you can give to say that you are giving to say fungi, and then you say what you say bacteria. So I'm sure this question, we once said that a fungi is a multicellular. It have got means it is multicellular And then if you look at bacteria, it's unicellular, it just got one. That is one, two, two. We can say that this one, it has got multiple nucleus. It has got multiple. It has got multiple nucleus. And then this one, it has got two. We say that it has no nucleus. It does not have a nucleus. And then finally, this one has got a cell of a chitin, and then this one has got a cell of proteins. Number three, cell wall of chitin, cell wall of lipids or of proteins. That is the basic differences which you need to take note of when you are given, when you are asked to give the tabulate, is that you need to draw a table which you can show the distinctive features that you can separate between the two. You can differentiate the two by it in a table form. That's what you mean by tabulating. And then 2.41, it's saying identify the parts, identify the plant groups for A and C, the plant groups of A and C. Where is A? A, we are saying the plant groups for A. A, you can see these are gymnosperms. A, you can see that they are gymnosperms. He said that is A. And then C, if you see C, you can see these are angiosperm. Sperm and geosperm, we can actually see refer also to the channel also on detailed content and explanation on this. We have got lectures and videos which we actually where I gave a narrative distinctive differences or the analysis in terms of these types of plants, and then plant groups, and we've been talking about different types of biospheres and so forth. Identify parts labeled 1, 3, and 4. Parts labeled 1, 3, and 4. Identify the parts labeled 1, 3, and 4. 1, we can see that this 1, it is actually, we have got 1 is the female cone. And then we have got also 2, 1, 3. Okay, 3 is actually the leaf, which we say that is the leaf. And we also understand that this is also, we said it's compound leaf. And then 1, 3, it is saying 1, 3, and 4. 4 actually it shows the rhizome. 4 is the rhizome. So I'm sure that if we can look at this again, I'm saying questions would always arise where you are supposed to be able to give these in their various functions and so forth. So please, we need to also look at them and be able to critically analyze these. You should be able to critically distinguish and be able to assess them. And then give the name of the structure that developed from a germinated spore B. When B germinates, which we are saying here, when B germinates, give the name of the structure that developed from germinated spore B. It actually, when it B germinates, we need to understand that it results into what? Into the protellus. It results in the protellus. When B germinates, it will give us the protellus. That is the structure that developed from the germinated spore B. When it germinates, it gives us the protellus there. And then draw a label diagram of a germination that of the germination that lives semi-parasitically on D. That lives semi-parasitically on plant D. When D, we are saying when on D, this is it. We are looking at D. This is what we are looking at. So the question is saying, draw a labeled diagram of the germination that lives semi-parasitically on D. What is it? We are saying semi-parasitically. It means not fully parasitic, not fully dependent, but depending partially on plant D. So now what happens is that it must be something which looks like, it must be something that looks like a structure like which we can give. I'm gonna just try to draw it anyway. So in this structure, we have got we need to understand that here we have got our setter there, and then we have got the capsule lid. We also have the capsule, which we agree that the capsule, it is usually green when immature. Usually green when immature, and then it also orange when it is ripe, and orange when ripe. So this is one thing that we need also to understand when we look at this parasitic, semi-parasitic plant that can germinate on what? That can germinate on a D. The diagram of germination that lives semi-parasitically on plant D. We are saying it should be looking exactly like that, to say that it gives us a diagrammatic reflection of this capsule, the setter, and then the capsule lid which is actually the end part of the lid of the capsule there, which we can see. And then I'm sure that if you can do this, you can as well be able to get as many marks as is possible. You can be able to get as many marks as it is possible. So let's go to the next question. It's an extract of elephant culling. Elephant culling, too hungry, too destructive, too many. South Africa to begin elephant cull. We are saying culling is removal, or we are saying selectively removing unproductive animals from the group or from the flock. These can be old, these can be no longer any reason which causes them to be productively important or to be kept for life, for business. So an elephant head at the Kruger National Park has 20,000 elephants, 5,000 more than sustainable. Ecologists say the animals' huge appetites and fondness for habitat, re-engineering, reducing forest to flatland by uprooting trees and trampling plants is the main problem. Culling of the excess elephants is seen as an advantage in that it generates revenue for communities from the sale of ivory and other elephant products. It will also provide meat for the local communities. Alternatives to culling include contraception and relocation of entire elephant families. The removal of fence between Kruger National Park and parks in neighboring Mozambique will eventually help with migration into less congested areas. The 2004 figure of 8,000 elephants increased to 20,000 in 2014. And then it expected to reach 34,000 by 2026. You can see the population is increasing very fast. So therefore, the question is saying one reason, give the main reason mentioned above in support of culling. This, you can see that we have heard that uh, uh, the population more than sustainable. The population is more than the environment can sustain, and then there is also uh, a destruction of the environment, reducing forest to flatland. The reducing forest to flatland by uprooting trees and trampling is the main problem. Therefore, we are saying their main problem is what is deforestation. We can say environmental degradation. Environmental destruction is the main problem that we can see here. They are destroying vegetation. We talk about destruction of vegetation that we are given here, that they are uprooting trees. Vegetation is uprooted. Name three alternatives to culling proposed. We are given there that they are given here. Culling is we are given here culling of excess elephants is seen as an advantage. It generates revenue. It also provides alternatives to culling. Alternatives. I'm saying this, it needs you to look from the essay, from the comprehension. Alternatives to culling include, we are saying one, contraception, two, relocation of the entire families, which can also be as other ways of reducing the population of the elephants. Uh, Contraception, birth control. Contraception, it has to do with controlling the birth process, reducing the birth rate, and then relocation of elephant families. What else? And then we are also given that the removal of the fence in neighboring Mozambique will eventually help in migration. Removal of the fence will also help. So we need to understand and agree that we can also have as to say that allowing migration, uh, removal of fence for elephant migration, that can also help. Elephants can also migrate. They can as well move. So fence removal, which is from neighboring Mozambique, it can also allow them to migrate, to move. And then predict the likely elephant population number by 2040. If the population is allowed to keep growing, we are given that these figures, these figures, we are just given that the rate at which they are growing. Here we are saying, let's agree that in 2004 figures of elephant was 8,000. It was 8,000 in 2004, 8,000 increasing to 20,000 in 2014, and it is expected to reach 34,000 in 2026. So now, what is the question is saying in 2040? In 2040, I can say what is the prediction the elephant can grow to what number? We are seeing 2004 to 2014 is the difference of what? It's a difference of 2004 to 2014, 10 years. The population increased by what? 12,000. 12,000. And then we also have, uh, if we say plus 12,000 here, we get what? We get 32, but here it increases to 34,000. Let's say minus 20,000 here. How much is the increase here? We have got one, is one, is 14,000. So 14,000. 14,000. So what we are saying is that this population growth, we are just saying that it can increase. This is 2026 plus 2014 to 2026, and then there. So we are saying approximately we can give this population growth that the rate at which it is growing at, it can give us something like 48,000 elephants, considering the rate at it is growing. I can say, considering the calculated, the figures that we are looking at, how it is growing in a difference of 10 years, it increased by 12,000. And then in a difference of 2014 to 2026, we have got 12 years, it increased by 14,000. So 2026, 2040 minus 2026, which is how many years there? 14 years. So we are just getting that increase to say, if we say it's a difference of 14 years, in 14, it increases there to 40, by 14,000, and that. So what we are saying is that approximately we can have a 14,000 increase in the population of these elephants, and then suggest our community can benefit from the culling of elephants. Culling of elephants, it is given that they can benefit ivory it is given that when the culling is done, it will also provide meat to local communities. Culling excess elephants is an advantage that it generates revenue to communities from the sale of ivory, and elephant products also provide meat to local communities. So we are saying that ivory, or which we can say jewelry, it can also generate revenue. It can also benefit from get meat. The local community can also get meat from there, which are also main advantages that we can see there. If we can further look at it again, we can say that the local community can have a safe and beautiful environment. They can have a safe and beautiful environment because their vegetation is not destroyed. Safe and beautiful. It can give us a safe and beautiful environment, which we are saying that it is because the environment is safe. Identify the type of symmetry illustrated in A, B, and C. The type of symmetry that is illustrated in A, B, and C. So let's get on that. A, B, C, A, B, and C. The type of symmetry that is given on A, B, and C. If we look at A, we can have uh, two there, which can be bilateral symmetry. In A, we can have bilateral. We can have bilateral uh, and then at B is it cannot be. We can't be able to divide. It can be able to be. It is asymmetrical. We cannot be able to actually cut it into proper equal divisions. So B, it is what? It is asymmetrical. And then C, if you can see, if we look at C, we can have radially, it is radially symmetrical, which means we can divide it from the center, going that side, we can divide it from there. So we are saying it is radially symmetrical. It is radially symmetrical, C. And then B, we said it's asymmetrical. We cannot be able to divide it. So that is it. Let's just get the next question. Identify the parts 2, 3, 2, 3, 6, and 8. 2, 3, and 8. 2, 3, 6, and 8. 2, 3, 6, and 8. 2, 3, 6, and 8. Identify the parts 2, 3, 6, and 8. 2, if you can look, we can see this is the column. 2, we can see that is there. 2, 3, and then 3, 3, we can see that 3, part 3, we can see that this is the mesoderm. Three is the mesoderm. Two, 3 is saying 2, 3, 6, and 8. 6. If you look at 6, 6, it actually shows 6, it actually shows it is the mesoglia. And then we have got 80. 80, it actually identifies the digestive tract. So we are saying these parts you can be given, and then you need to be able to identify and label them as it is given there. Which diagrams, according to the numbers of germ layers, represent which diagram, according to the number of which diagram or diagrams, according to the number of germ layers, represent the type of the deep. Sorry. So we are saying that when we look into that, we must be able to identify that it is the tripolobolistic. We have got the columate, and the allocomate. So now, what is happening is that when we look at these diagrams, we are saying when we look at these diagrams, we must identify that A, which is the diploballistic. It is actually identified by diagram. It is actually identified by diagram. You can say it can actually show this can be E, can also show, and F. So we are saying that E can actually show it is E or F, that the type low ballistic, the type which is tri means 3. We can find out that that can be, according to our diagram, that can be 3. We are saying is what it can be. That the tri can be D. Tri can be D. And then C, the accolomate. C, the accolomate. That can also be, it can also be E. It can also be E. It can also be what? Be F. This can also be, it can be E, or it can be F. And then the last one, D, the columate. We are saying that the columate can also be identified by D as well. That can also be D. And then which one of the diagrams represent the most advanced and complex animal? The most advanced and complex animal. When we look at these diagrams, which of the diagrams represent the most advanced and complex animal? That can actually be seen that we can see that D can identify that. We are saying can be identifying the complex and advanced animal, which can be seen by D. And then what is happening is that the reason why is say that we say that D is also tri, meaning to say three. And then the reason is that when you look at that, that can actually identify that it has three gem layers and has a true column and then a what? A columnate. In other words, we said it is tribalistic. Tribalistic, which means it got three gem layers. So that we identify that it has got three from question above. So it actually has three gem layers. Yes, three. It has three gem layers. It has got three gem layers, which we say the tribalistic, and has true, and it has a true column. And then study the recycle products shown below. The recycle products that are shown below. These are different products, and the question is saying, let's see, 3.3. Okay. It says name three advantages of recycling product D. Recycling product D. Recycling product D. D is paper. D is given paper. What are the advantages of recycling product D? What are the advantages of recycling product D? Which we are saying it is paper. It actually, one, it saves, we can say lives of of both plants and animals. They cannot die because of the suffocation that can be caused because the paper there. Again, what happens is that if we recycle paper, it also saves energy. It all saves energy, and then we can as well understand that it can also save. Uh, it ensures conservation of water, conservation of water. I'm sure you remember from the other chapters that we talked about the littering, how it causes blockages and also causes the pollution of water reservoirs and stuff. So now water is conserved by recycling paper. That then it cannot cause a lot of littering in our water reservoirs and water resources. Um, in which category of household waste will A and B be classified? A and B, where can A and B be classified? This can be, we are seeing these are plastic containers here. We can see it is plastic. And then here it's plastic containers that we can see here. And then these are tins. It can be tins. So which they can actually be classified. Which category Which category of household waste can we classify these? These can also be given as dry waste. This can be given as dry waste because we are saying plastic, empty bottles and tins. Product C is 100% recyclable, but not biodegradable. What does this mean? Product C it's 100% recyclable, but not biodegradable. What is product C that we are seeing there? That is glass. We can see that is glassy. So what it means is that it is glassy, can be recycled many times. Glass can be recycled many times uh, and does not lose any of its quality and cannot lose any of its it cannot lose its quality at the same time at the same time it cannot be decomposed by microorganisms. Glass cannot be decomposed by microorganisms. No microorganisms can eat glass. It cannot be decomposed by microorganisms. That is what we mean by non-biodegradable. By that, it is not biodegradable. It cannot decompose. We can still find it there after so many millions of years. Name and explain the term used to classify products A and C. Products C, we are just saying name and explain the term used to classify A and C. A and C, these are, we said it's plastic and glassy. That is plastic and glassy. So this can also be called non-biodegradable. These are non-biodegradable, meaning cannot be decomposed by microorganisms. That's what we mean by these plastic and glass. They are non-biodegradable. They cannot be decomposed. They cannot be broken. They can remain in their status or they cannot corrode. They cannot do what. They remain in their state for millions of years. We have got an extract below a GMO and food security. So it multinational companies controlling agricultural economics, which impoverish farmers who are forced to buy seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, and even farming equipment from them at high cost. Do not allow independent research in order to protect their profits, control most GMO seeds, rights with patents. Patents are rights. Farmers who traditionally saved their seed for replanting or exchanging with other farmers are no longer allowed to do so. The control and ownership of seed in the case of GMOs, genetically modified soya and genetically modified cotton in South Africa passes entirely to multinational corporations that sold the patents, such as the Manso and German and American and Syngenta, American and Chinese. This undermines farmers' rights and places control outside the country. The high cost of genetic modification increase food prices, which negatively impact food security, and most South Africans are unaware that some of their staple foods are genetically modified. So genetically modified class, we are just talking about they are not naturally grown, they are not indigenous, they are modified because of the use of certain genes which are either added or removed from them. So now the question is saying, name two genetically modified crops in South Africa. They are listed here that we have got maize, genetically modified maize, we have got soya, we have got cotton. So name two of them. This can be, we can talk about genetically modified soya, we can talk about genetically modified maize. We also have even cotton, which is given there, but the question says to explain two ways in which genetically modified seeds companies will negatively impact on impoverished farmers. So as you can look, we are saying the farmers are forced to buy these pesticides and so forth at high cost. They do not allow independent research in order to protect their profits. So what is happening is that farmers who save for replanting or exchanging the other are no longer allowed to do so. These are the conditions through which farmers are going through. So farmers are forced to buy seeds, are forced to buy, are forced to buy seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, and so forth at high cost. Seeds and chemicals at high cost. We also have the other problem is that the multinationals actually also have problems to do with ownership and rights to GMO seeds that belong to these companies. Farmers no longer have no longer have ownership and rights. They no longer have ownership of and rights to genetically modified seeds. Genetically modified seeds. Instead, they are being owned by those companies. And then we can also talk about there is no independent research that is allowed in the replanting of the seeds. Farmers are not in farmers not allowed to undertake independent research. Independent research, which is also a problem. They no longer grow their traditional seeds. They no longer grow their traditional seeds. All these are problems that we are seeing. You can see these answers are coming from, they are coming from there up to all these factors that are listed in here. They are identifying the challenges which farmers are facing. Let's just go to the next question. What is food security? Describe what is meant by the following terms: genetically modified organisms. Genetically modified organisms. We're saying that these are organisms which is their DNA are changed for specific reasons. Organisms whose DNA, the DNA have been changed for specific reasons. Those are genetically modified. The DNA has been modified for specific reasons. And then food security. Food security defines having access to rightful amount of food, having access to rightful amount of food at all convenient times for a healthy living all the time. This we have defined it also before, that a person should have the rightful amount of food at convenient times for a healthy living all the times according to the health demands of the person. It must be nutritious. It must be at all times when the person wants it, and also as the person requires it. A population of insects on a semi-desert area are likely to be wingless because flying is dangerous for them in an area with strong winds. Part of the area of semi-desert, some of the semi-desert, in this semi-desert insect called robber flies have changed. Some have wings and some do not have, depending on the area where they are found. Scientists wanted to determine the relationship between the presence of tall trees and wings on the robber flies. They selected 8 locations using a specialized net. They collected them thousands, and the sample were labeled according to the area of collection. These samples were collected in morning during summer. The number of robber flies with wings and without wings at each location were counted and recorded. Uh, so now, the question is saying, uh, the question which is here is that state the aim of the investigation. Uh, the investigation is actually done in order to identify. We are saying that they selected 8 locations of which 4 had tall trees and others were without trees. So there is a relationship between the wings and the wings and the wings and tall trees. So it is an investigation to determine the relationship between the presence of tall trees and wings on robber flies. An investigation to determine the relationship between the presence of tall trees, between the presence of tall trees and wings of robber flies. So as you can see, we are saying they wanted to determine the relationship between the presence of tall trees in areas which have got tall trees and the wings of robber flies, to say, do they have wings in areas where they have got tall trees or not? So identify the independent variable. The independent, we say that the independent, meaning to say that the one determine the relationship between the presence of tall trees and the robber flies. So the independent is the presence of tall trees. Presence of tall trees. And then obviously the wings are dependent on this, the dependent variable the dependent is what? The dependent variable, as we say, it is what? Wings on the robber flies. And then state two ways in which the reliability of the investigation was ensured. Uh, in this case, I want you to understand that when we are doing an investigation, we must ensure that the size of the sample, uh, a bigger sample size ensures the reliability of the results. Repetition of an investigation ensures the reliability of the results. Maintaining environmental conditions ensures reliability of the results. Using the same type of organisms in in a research, it ensures the reliability of the results. So what we are saying is that in this case, we have heard that they actually they collected thousands of robber flies, and also the locations of each category, 4 locations for each category, which was also increasing the reliability of the results. Determine the relationship between the presence of what. That is the purpose of the investigation. We are saying scientists wanted to determine the relationship between the presence of trees and wings on robber flies. That is the what? The purpose of the investigation. So they collected 8 locations which had 4 tall trees and 4 without. And using specialized net, they collected thousands of robber flies in each location. They took 4 thousands of robber flies. So we are having labeling. The sample were labeled according to the area of collection. It also helps the labeling of the sample size to avoid confusion. It also uh, that was also done. So in this case, uh, one, labeling different samples of the robber flies to avoid errors or confusion is also done there. They also took large sample sizes, collection of large thousands of collection of large sample sizes, which we see thousands of robber flies. It actually increases the collection of samples from different locations. Also helps to increase the reliability of the results. But sometimes you might not be given only these. So I was saying that if sometimes we say that there are no specific contextual answers that are given, we can increase the reliability of the results by repetition of the investigation, having large sample size, using the same species of organisms, and also we can talk about maintaining the same environmental conditions against the organisms used in the research. So those are what are required as what improving reliability of the results. Sometimes we can talk about planning steps. Planning steps is getting the permission to do the investigation, collection of the equipment that must be used, and also identification of data recording techniques and presentation. There are planning steps. So please take note of this and make sure that you don't forget and you don't miss them. They are always investigative questions that are always coming in the exam. So thank you very much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that we can keep together until matric is done. Don't forget, with Matric Hub, no repeats, no failure. Let's work together. This can be simple and this can be shorter for you. All the best in every exam that we are to write.